I bid y'all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins. Guys, thanks for joining me so much. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you guys taking out the time of your day. Comment below. And let's get to this article. It's actually really important. It's been basically discussing what we've been discussing. And this article's actually from early July, mid 2019. But I want to read it because now it's a really well-written article, and it actually goes over average price, benchmarks, this and that, and actually touches on specific topics that we talk about on trends in the housing market. So I wanted to spotlight this specific article because it's very true to the bone. It's very true. So you guys understand how Canada is very limited when it comes to major cities, right? And I keep bringing up Texas, because Texas is a great example. Texas has more major cities in all of Canada. And that's just one state. And if you don't like Texas, Florida has 13, 14, maybe 16 major cities that you could move to. Canada's got 3, maybe 4 if you could speak French. But, I mean, you don't have much of a choice in Canada when it comes. And you're distant. You're very distant. If you're living, let's say, in Florida, you don't like Miami and you want to move to West Palm Beach, you're moving 40 miles away. You don't like West Palm Beach, you want to move to Jacksonville, you could do that. You don't like Jacksonville, you can move to Tallahassee. You don't like Tallahassee, you can move to Panama City Beach. You want to move back down inside the Gulf, you move to Tampa Bay. You don't like Tampa Bay, you can move to Port St. Lucie, move to the Keys. There's a lot of, but with Canada, it is impossible to really make it when it comes to a low income earner, right? So low income workers can't afford rent in 91% of Canadian cities. This is by Vice, and I kind of want to cover this because this is very important. We covered a lot of articles like this. A new study shows unaffordable this country has become as cities like Vancouver and Toronto are basically out of reach for anyone making less than 70 large per year. 70 large. $70,000 per year. If you make minimum wage, you can't afford to live on your own in virtually any Canadian city, a new study says. So minimum wage. So I don't know if you guys remember this. So I come from, what is it, Gen Z, Gen Y, or Gen whatever we are. I was born in 78. So when I went to high school in 96, 97, 98, teachers would shout at us and say, do you want to be flipping burgers? Do you want to work minimum wage for the rest of your life? No. Then pay attention to my class, or you're going to be flipping burgers all your life. Now, people are actually, or serving tables, or whatever you're doing, or providing services all your life. But nowadays, that's what people are actually now, because there's a lack of good paying jobs, and a lot of people bought into that whole student loan bullcrap to keep that whole economy. Then the government of Canada federalized it. Then they decide what the rates are going to be, and you can't go bankrupt on student loans. So they made it this smart. So they create this effect that without education, we had Hill Dog on stage saying you make $1 million if you got a degree, and this and that, and then now all these people are paying for it, and a lot of people are paying for it in a really bad way. So minimum wage jobs. So like if I was reading this back in high school, I would look at it and say, I mean, some of the people are like top of my class. Why are they worried about this? Because that's where a lot of people are destined to end up. And it's really scary. According to a report released Thursday by a lending research institute, the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, CCPA, if you're looking for a 2-bedroom, you'd be shut out of 97% of the 795 neighborhoods where rental information is publicly available. You're shut out of 91% of cities if you're looking for a 1-bedroom. 97%. 15, 20, okay, 20, let's go back 20 years. When Canada was actually good. Make Canada great again. 20 years ago, you could be like, you'd have your landlord on bended knee. Oh, is there anything wrong? Oh, can I help you? Oh, this, because once you leave, that place is going to be next to impossible to rent out. And it was tough for a lot of landlords to find good tenants and stuff because a lot of them qualified just to buy. because everything was within reach. You could work minimum wage 20 years ago and get a mortgage, and like on a 2-3 bedroom home. You could. Now you can't even do that. Rental information is publicly available. You're shut off 91% of the cities if you're looking for a 1-bedroom essay. Given that 1/3 of 4.7 million households across the country rent rather than own, that's a lot of people rent rather than own. The affordability crisis highlighted in the data is significant. According to the report's author, renters are often low-income earners, millennials and Gen Z, or newcomers to the country. There's a big group of people who don't make a lot but are working full-time and they can't afford to rent in big cities. People who live in downtown Toronto are not just banksters. They're also people that staff lunch counters, people that drive in the food, clean these offices, said CCPA senior economist David McDonald. They might be throwing up their hands because they're being pushed out of the downtown on the real estate side and the rental side. Oh yeah, that's definitely what's happening, and the market's going wild. We know this, but even though prices are still starting to decline in Vancouver and Toronto, and prices are stagnating and not going anywhere, the price of rents will still continue to go up because they're thinking of raising interest rates. Okay, they don't raise interest rates. Okay, they'll get you on the property tax side. So there's a lot of like retail stores, like little retail spaces in Vancouver that are paying $55,000-$60,000 a year for property tax. I covered that restaurant in Toronto that's paying, what was it paying? $230,000 a year for property tax for a little restaurant in downtown Toronto. Like a 1-story, there's like no upstairs or anything. Like you got to be kidding me. The study honed on the rental wage, meaning the hourly wage a person needs to make in order to be able to rent a place using more than 30% of pre-tax income, which is widely used threshold for housing affordability. The national rental wage for the average priced 1-bedroom is about $20.20 per hour, which works out to $42,016 annually. Holy crap. That's significantly higher than minimum wage anywhere in the country. The rental wage climbs in the most expensive markets. It's highest in Vancouver at $35.43 or $73,695 a year. Framed another way, that means someone making minimum wage at $13.85 an hour in Vancouver would have to work 84 hours a week to afford an average priced 1-bedroom apartment. Or in that case, a single parent or a single earner household needs to work 112 hours a week for a 2-bedroom apartment. It's sad. It's so sad that we no longer are necessary. It feels like the people that built this infrastructure, the people that built and helped and dedicated their lives to this country are continuously being pushed out. Rental wages are also the steepest in Toronto, $33.70 an hour or $70,096 annually. Calgary, $26.97 an hour or $56,000 annually. And Ottawa, $26 an hour or $54,247 annually. For context, it's important to consider that 25% of workers earn within $3 of minimum wage. This issue disproportionately affects young, low-income workers who can't afford to buy in many Canadian housing markets. Now, we don't have this information here, but of what I want to bring up. But I bet you 100 to 1, a lot of these people did really well in school. A lot of these people scored the best tests on quizzes, got the best, did the best on their SATs, probably got the highest marks in the class. And what? For what? What was the pushing themselves for? Then I'm feeling this. Believe me, I'm feeling this. There's a lot of people from my high school, and they're my age, of course, because we went to school together. They're really having a tough time just keeping the basics going. You know what I'm saying? Can't afford into many Canadian housing markets and are feeling the rental squeeze in most urban cities. The federal Liberals' 10-year national housing strategy includes increasing the supply of rentals. Boosting supply is expected to bring rental costs down, but based on the current trajectory, a majority of those rental units won't open the doors until late 2020s. So we got a problem with that. The problem is Canada now, it's been for the last 3 years, has been doing this student program where students pay 4 times the annual rate for universities and colleges and stuff, and bringing in very wealthy students in from China and fast-tracking them on permanent residency. It's Ireland's doing it. Australia's doing it now. But the problem with that is it's taking up all the rentals for locals that actually live in those cities to contribute towards delivering meals, washing your car, picking up the garbage, all kinds of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, the details of new rent supplements for low-income tenants are being worked out. The average is about $2,500 a year based on McDonald's calculations. That brings down the rental wages to $4 an hour. That initiative is maximum budget of $750 million, which means it will only extend about 12% of renters struggling for affordability. But many millennials are likely to be eligible. The budget cap on this program is tight, and it's being negotiated right now with the provinces. What will happen is strict criteria will be put on who access it. In some cases, it will be based on who is low income, who has children and seniors, and everybody else would be count out, said McDonald's. So here's the deal here with this. So now, I brought up this article here. Vancouver declares... I think it's $3,200. Oh, sorry. So now here's the deal. Now, this contradicts an article I read for you guys in the beginning of 2018. City of Vancouver now defines $3,702 rent as affordable housing. Now, for to rent, this is what it costs, $3,702 for affordable housing. Now, you take a step back and say, wait, why do you have to make like $100,000 a year for it to be considered affordable housing? That makes no sense, Mike. Like, to pay that much in rent, you got to make at least $100,000 large a year. It says right here, you're looking at about close to $100,000 a year. Do you know why? Yeah, starting rate is $3,702 for a rental on the west side in the city. Do you know why, guys? It's because for people to qualify for low-income housing, they need to meet a specific criteria, right? So $3,702, if you could afford $3,702 for rent per month, that means you could get into affordable housing. But Mike, you're telling me this makes no sense. You got to make $100,000 a year. How? Like, you're rich if you make $100,000 a year. No, it's because the people that work for the city, or the people that doctors, all kinds of people, they can't afford to live in the city as well. And they're saying, well, $3,702 is the threshold for you to get into affordable housing. They're smart. They do it in a way where they want to keep the people that garbage men, postal workers, all those people from moving out of the city and leaving by saying, hey, we can get you a rental for $3,700. You qualify for low income. Really? What are you supposed to applaud that and say, that's great? So instead, in Sydney, Australia, what they did the complete opposite. They actually built 2 big towers, 400 units a tower, and that's only for city workers or people that work in the city that keep the infrastructure going, that can't afford to live. Like doctors, city lawyers, city nurses, are registered nurses and stuff that can afford. Instead, they give them affordable rents, like 1,000, 1,100 Australian a month, 2,000 Australian a month for a nice, decent pad. But they're not cutting out the rest of the city. They're saying, look, these are for city workers to live in Sydney because they can't afford to live in Australia. So what we're going to do is we're going to build this because we're losing all our basic necessities are leaving to Hobart or to the Gold Coast. So in Canada, they're smart. If you want to get into affordable housing, not low income, see how they worded, not low income, affordable housing. You need to make 37. You need to be able to define. You have to be able to pay $3,702 a month. You can make that. We'll put you in an affordable housing program, and you won't leave the city because we need your services in the city. So it's kind of like they rake you over the coals with the rent, because I don't even want to show you what you could rent in West Palm Beach. You could have a Scarface type, a house from Scarface, the movie, for $37.02 a month with 2 pools and a water fountain in front and a buzz up gate where you buzz to get in. So anyways, let's move over here. Half of U.S. restaurants are struggling with rising labor costs. So the price of labor is going up. Lots of restaurants are starting to going with robots in the United States, and that's becoming a huge problem, right? In the 1 year since New York City implemented the mandatory $15 minimum wage, businesses have been struggling with the increased labor costs. So what's happening is you're getting the federal... See, back in the day, minimum wage was minimum wage. You worked minimum wage, you had a few roommates, you were working towards getting, your college done and then maybe going out to something better. But no, now you're minimum wage. That's it. Lucky maybe one day you become store manager or something. You know what I'm saying? And now... They can't, this is a minimum wage job. They shouldn't be paying $15 an hour. I don't mind minimum wage workers making a decent amount of money, but it's a minimum wage job. See, when I was going to high school, I'm a Gen Xer, right? Gen X, am I Gen X? I think I am. I'm 41 years old. I'm an old man. But to be frank with you guys, let's call a spade here. It's a minimum wage job. It's a minimal training, minimal, I'm putting anyone down, because everyone needs to work this through. Because when I was growing up, a minimum wage job was to work your summers out, minimum wage, work your summers through, make a little bit of money to pay for your college. And you usually paid off for your college, you know what I'm saying? Ever since they federalized colleges, the price of studying went here and it went to the roof, because they federalized it and they let you take out loans. Businesses have been struggling with increased labor costs. Fox News reported previously they're cutting their staff, they're cutting their hours. So that's what they do. They cut hours and stuff, and they cut hours of operation. They're shutting down, said Queen's Chamber of Commerce President Thomas Gregg, who reports seeing an uptick in small business closures all over the past 6 months. It's not just the rent. So this is actually from today's date. So in America, they're struggling with the cost of wages, where in Canada they're struggling with the cost of struggling with the cost of property taxes. So either way, if you're a small business owner, you get punished. I did a whole video today, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel right here. Don't forget to join the channel here if you want. Everyone's been joining lately. I really appreciate that so much. Facebook fan page, guys. If you guys want, don't forget to subscribe to my channel here. Here it is, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. My Facebook page. I have 117,000 followers on this. Follow this one. There's a couple of fake pages out there. Also, where was I? Yeah, subscribe. Patreon supporters. So much support. Thank you, guys. And don't forget to shop Mike Martin's. I got so much cool stuff here. I've been selling so much stuff from this store. I was impressed. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe. These are my designs. Let me know what you guys think. If you bought one, please wear it and send me a photo, because I've been selling them. And if you don't mind, guys, yeah, support the channel any way possible. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's like 97% of the city, you're shot out from a 2-bedroom, and 91% of the cities, you're completely bought. So people are forced to take in roommates in their 20s and 30s, and like I don't know if you guys remember that New Zealand article I read with 41 people to a house, 41 people living in a house. Yeah, in New Zealand. Yeah, I'm just joking. I'm being sarcastic. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think. Comment in the comments below. I look forward. I always read your comments. So comment below. I'll read your comments. Thanks for watching. Let me know.